Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode If You Could Hide to Kolob podcast. My name's Daniel. This is my brother Clive.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We're sort of doing a part two here, Daniel, but it's really just catching everyone up. I talked about in part one that we just want to get through the stories to try and help with the come follow me. I think we finished on Esau giving up his birthright to Jacob for some pottage. He basically comes in, say, "I'm too tired. Give me a pottage." Jacob said, "Give me your birthright." And he said, "Fine." And then Esau goes off and marries a Canaanite. And this is where we're going to pick up. So if you want to do the quote, we'll pick up from there.
Okay. Clive, this is from The Continuous Atonement by Brad Wilcox. The fall was designed complete with all the accompanying misery and pain to ultimately bring us freedom and happiness. There is no shortcut to the celestial kingdom. Everyone who ends up there must pass through the lone and dreary world on the way. God knew the problems associated with immortal probation, but he also knew that Jesus would be the solution to those problems. To that end, Christ was anointed.
Excellent.
Okay, so we're going to pick up in chapter 27 of Genesis. And Clive, we've got a story here that I'm hoping you know if there's meaning behind. But essentially what happens is we know that Isaac and Rebekah have two children, Jacob and Esau. Rebekah loves Jacob, Isaac loves Esau. And we get to the point now where this love of each parent to each individual child really now separates them for the rest of their lives. We have this, what I think is a crazy story. So I'm hoping you know far more of maybe the meanings behind it than I do. But essentially, Isaac calls Esau in and says, "Go and hunt me some venison." He says this in verse 3. "Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die." So this is Isaac saying this to Esau, who he loves so much. He's basically saying, honor me and give me, one last awesome meal. Through the rest of the text, we come to believe at least that Isaac really, maybe he's fully blind at this stage, but he basically, he says to Esau, go and hunt and bring me something, honor me before I go. And Rebekah hears this. She overhears this conversation between Isaac and Esau, and she runs and concocts this story with Jacob and says to Jacob, "Okay, we are going to make a plan where you will go to your field." Those who are remembering will remember that Esau was a hunter and Jacob had cattle. So she says, while Esau's going out hunting, go to your cattle, your finest cattle, and kill them, and we will cook up a meal and serve it. And essentially, we will be able to do this much faster than Esau can go and hunt. And Clive, then we have this whole, Jacob says, but Isaac will know me because I'm not hairy. I'm smooth. I think he even says I'm a smooth man. He says in 11, and Jacob says to Rebekah, his mother, "Behold, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father, peradventure, will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing." So then Rebekah says, "That's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to dress you so that if he feels you, he'll feel hairiness. And then he'll just believe you that you're Esau." I mean, I find this story odd is probably the lightest way I would describe this story, Clive. What am I missing? Or is this just kind of it? Are we to believe that Jacob earns this blessing from his father through absolute deception?
Well, this is what I was saying in the part one. It doesn't make sense that Rebecca had the Lord spoke to her. So she had this revelation, essentially. The Lord spoke to her and said that the younger will, the elder will serve the younger. Back in 25, verse 13, and the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. The one people shall be stronger, and the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So she knew, well, Jacob, he's going to come out second, so therefore he is the youngest. But he is going to be the one that rules because the Lord has told me. And what I don't really get it. You're right, like it is a bit confused because did she not tell Isaac that she had this vision, or did Isaac just not believe it because maybe he didn't receive that either? And so, yeah, so Isaac's gone, well, Esau is the firstborn, and he loves Esau the most because, like I said, he's a man's man. He goes out, he does all the hunting. Obviously, he's a really good cook too because Isaac says, "Go make me this delicious food that I like." And Rebecca's gone, well, we could probably make it the same because he's blind, like you said. So it is fascinating that Rebecca knows that even though, I think even though Jacob's the favorite, I think she still knows, well, I've had this revelation. So therefore I know that this is the way it's supposed to be. Because if you look at it in a simple way, you can go, well, that's deception. And so surely the Lord wouldn't bless it. But the Lord did bless it. And the birthright did go through Jacob, and nations came from Jacob as the covenant with Abraham and the Lord. And so so you think if this was deceptive and Rebecca did the wrong thing, it wouldn't be the case. And look, I mean, I say that, but then, you think of King David, where he saw Bathsheba and they had children, and that was through wickedness, and the line still continued. So I guess you could still look at it that way and go, well, it still works differently. But I just think there is something there that we're missing, and it doesn't really explain it.
Is it the case? I mean, I believe that Rebecca is so holy, so spiritual. She is absolutely the matriarch of these 3,000 years, as the book by Cleon Skousen talks about. Is it that she hasn't seen Isaac display the blessings or put the blessings onto Jacob as per what the Lord has told her? Or maybe she thinks she's on a secret mission from the Lord and therefore needs Isaac to infer the blessings on Jacob with Isaac onto Jacob without Isaac knowing about it. Or maybe you're right, Isaac doesn't believe her because he loves Esau and Esau is the firstborn. I think that Rebecca is on a holy mission. So she is aware of something. Perhaps she has tried multiple times to get Isaac to agree with her, but now she sees this point and seizes her opportunity. When Isaac is understanding that he's blessed Jacob, he's not overly angry. He's not overly mad. The text doesn't say, well, I've ruined my life. I've ruined my lineage. How dare I give it on to the youngest, not the firstborn? These things aren't said in the text. So that could suggest that maybe Isaac just went, well, okay, I need to trust in my wife Rebecca here because she is all holy.
And I think something we've got to remember is just because they're a person in the scriptures, it doesn't mean that they're a perfect person. So Isaac could have known this, but decided, well, Esau's my favorite. Just because he's in here as a person, it doesn't mean that he is 100% correct with everything he does. I think you're right. I think this is more like Rebecca is the keystone of this whole section of the year. She's the important one. She's the matriarch and the one that the Lord speaks to. Isaac obviously is a great person, but not everyone's perfect through the scriptures. Like I said, just because they're in there, it doesn't mean that everything they say is 100% correct. They are still humans, and they do still make their own decisions, whether it be right or wrong.
Clive, I might just go through some verses just to explain what I've been talking about. So in 14, and he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat such as his father loved. She gave the savory meat and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. And then Jacob presents this to the father, and we get these texts as it goes on. And Isaac said unto Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. So Isaac still goes through this motion of, I need to make sure this blessing I'm giving, I need to make sure it's to the son that I love. And eventually he does not discern, and he eventually just believes that it is Esau, and so he blesses him. And he said, bring it near me, and I will eat of my son's venison, and thou soul may bless thee, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near, and he did eat, and he brought with him wine, and he drank. And he said, and his father Isaac said unto him, come now and kiss me, my son. So we get this, I guess this interaction, we are led to believe that this is the blessing, this is the passing on, Clive, of the line, the blessings from father to son is this final interaction here.
This interaction's funny as well because he's come kiss me, and so he kissed him, and he's like, "Are you sure you're not Esau? Like you do feel a bit different." You have Jacob's voice, like, "No, I definitely am," and he feels him around a bit more. He's like, "Oh yeah, you are hairy. Yeah, I guess you are." It's just a funny image of Isaac sort of catching on, and Jacob's like, "No, I swear I'm Esau."
Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't go down very well because even though Esau gave his birthright for pottage, I don't think he really took it seriously that he was going to give it away. Like, if when we were kids, if you came in exhausted, you're like, I'm so hungry, make me something, and I'm like, give me this, and you're like, sure, just take it. There's no way you'd be like, well, this is serious. You go, obviously, I was kidding, or whatever the situation may be. So I really don't think Esau saw this as strongly as Jacob did, going, well, I didn't really give you my birthright. And in 41, it says that Esau hated Jacob because of this. And this caused a huge rift. And everything that follows on from Jacob is because of this rift. Where he goes to and what he sees is because he has to run away to escape a vengeful and angry Esau. And Rebecca helps him along. She says, you've got to go. Like, Esau's not happy with you. And so Jacob has to run away. So it does start this series of a chain of events of everything that's coming because Esau was so angry.
I guess we can't skip the very, very simple lesson. We're always looking for what else is there, but the very basic lesson of this is that the covenant that is with Esau is given away for nothing. Like the covenant, the idea of us that we can attain the celestial kingdom with our family is a covenant that we have taken, that we should treasure. Esau sees the covenant given to him as absolutely naught and gives it away for some breakfast. So maybe this is more the very basic of anything. This is the basic lesson to learn from this encounter.
Yep, absolutely. And that's the thing about these stories. There's a lot of stories in there, but yeah, there is always that meaning and that importance of why it means these things and why it's even in the scriptures. So much would have happened through their years, and you got to understand why these specific stories are in there.
Yeah. So we end this chapter with Isaac eventually meeting Esau and knowing that he's with Esau, and he says to him in verse 40, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass that when thou shalt have dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And then we go on, like you said, Clive, he hates him. And in verse 43, now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran. So Rebecca says, I know where you can go. You need to go there till all of these issues die down. At a point in time, we hope that Esau will stop hating you. But while you're here, Esau will kill you. So I'm giving you a place where you can go, and the Lord will bless you. You just need to crack on and get out of here.
So Rebecca tells Jacob to go to Laban, like you said, and we talked about in part one. Well, Laban was Rebecca's brother, and so she's going to go there because Isaac tells Jacob, as he's been told, not to marry a Canaanite. So Esau marries a Canaanite, and Jacob's very angry about that. And Isaac's very angry about that. And Isaac said, go off, don't marry a Canaanite, because again, you have the birthright. We want the priesthood to go on. The Canaanites aren't allowed the priesthood. That's the cursing. And so we need the priesthood to go on as well as the birthright and the lineage. So it's important that you don't marry someone who can't have the priesthood so that you can continue to pass the priesthood on. But in the meantime, he goes and he's exhausted and he goes down, he prays the Lord. And this is where we get the very famous story of Jacob's ladder. So Jacob's ladder, it's in chapter 28, and it says that in verse 12, it starts, and he dreamed and beheld a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood. And then if you look at 13, it says above, but in actually 13, it says beside him. So the Lord stood beside him and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the Lord God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. So this is the Lord affirming to Isaac that I have promised Abraham, I have promised Isaac, and you are of this lineage, and I have promised you. And from here, essentially, when the Lord speaks to someone, he now refers to, or he's referred to as the Lord of Abraham, the Lord of Isaac, the Lord of Jacob. And it's really interesting, isn't it, that this is sort of the start of that for the Lord to explain who he is and who the promises came through and to continue on that promise. So I thought that was just a really interesting part. But Jacob's ladder is a really interesting vision because not only is it the Lord reaffirming everything to him, but it's unlike any other vision that anyone has ever seen, in my opinion, unless it's just not written down. Because it's this ladder from earth to heaven, and the angels are ascending and descending. And it's basically just, and the Lord's then promising, and he says in 14, and thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed.
Yeah, it really it demonstrates the story is oozing of a two-way. The story is oozing that heaven is accessible and people are going up and people are coming down. It is not just a mythical place where there is no connection. There is a physical connection to get to it, and there are rungs on the ladder, and you can progress up the ladder to get to it. And with the angels coming up and down, it obviously shows that from a heavenly perspective, there's also a ladder there which you can just head straight to earth if that's part of your assignment as well. To me, it really shows the connection between the two. And like Jesus Christ, this isn't just some personage who is a million miles away that we don't know about. This is depicting heaven as being something that is easily accessible.
So when Jacob wakes up from this dream, knowing now that, the Lord has blessed him, he looks around at this place and he goes, this place it's not a great place. The Lord has spoken to me here. I never really knew about this place, but it's not a great place. But this place is where Abraham sacrificed Isaac, and the Lord promised that a temple would be built here. So Jacob wakes up now and he goes, well, the Lord promised there would be a temple here. I need to bless this place. He says in 17, and he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob arose early in the morning, and he took the stone that he was using for his pillow, and he took that and he poured oil upon it, and he blessed the place and called it Bethel. And so later, when we talk about Solomon building his temple, this is where he built his temple. So this is an incredible place. This is where Abraham tried to sacrifice Isaac. This is where now Jacob sees this vision of the ladder, and then Solomon builds his temple in this place. So this isn't just a throwaway vision. This is something that is going to happen in the future to future generations, and Jacob's understanding this message and then blessing this place.
Clive, I love the last two verses really tied up. I've got them highlighted in my scriptures. This verse 21 and 22. So that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. 22. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house, and of all that thou shalt give unto me, thou shalt give me, I will surely give the 10th unto thee. So there's a real exchange here. I really like it. It's a great story. Okay, so Jacob continues on, and he essentially bumps into this extended family that he's part of. He sees some brothers here. And he says to them, do you know, Laban? And he said, he says, yeah, he knows them. And they said, he is well. And behold, Rachel, his daughter, cometh with the sheep. So they say, yes, we're all here, but there's also one of his daughters. His daughter's name is Rachel. She's also heading this way. And he said, lo, this is verse 7 of 29. And he said, lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep and go and feed them. So there's this exchange in what's happening. And then we get to verse 9 to verse 14 is the first exchange that Jacob has with Rachel. And if you're not sure who Jacob is, or the dots haven't been linked yet, that's okay. Jacob is Jacob and the many sons, Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat that goes to Egypt. And so this is his first interaction with with the person he wants to be his wife. So he meets Rachel, and she's very beautiful from all of the readings that we have. Obviously there's some good looking daughters, Clive. Rachel is said to be beautiful, and Leah is tender eyed as well. This is the sister of Leah is a sister of Rachel. And so Jacob in 11, Jacob kisses Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. So Jacob finds Rachel. He's so smitten. He's so overtaken. He lifts up his voice, which I can only assume he prays to the Lord he in gratitude, and he weeps. He sees that he is going to be blessed, and he has found a fair maiden in a miraculous event, not too dissimilar to how his father Isaac meets his mother Rebekah. And so Jacob, this is in 12, Jacob told Rachel that he was his father's brother and that he was Rebekah's son, and she ran and told her father. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said, surely thou art my bone of my flesh. And he abode with him the space of 1 month. So we get this story now that Jacob says to Laban, your daughter Rachel is so beautiful. She is amazing, actually. And she's the one I want to marry. And he strikes a deal that he will live there with them for 7 years. And during these 7 years, he will be the man because Laban doesn't have any sons. So he says, I'll be the man, and I'll tend, and I'll do all these bits and pieces that you need me to do. And so, Clive, we've only got 15 verses left, but the years fly by in the rest of this chapter, and in the rest of the next chapter. There is just so much going on with Jacob, Rachel, Leah, handmaidens, maidens, kids. The next couple of chapters really blow up.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about before with Laban. This in part 1, I was talking about Laban. He only takes Isaac in, or to Isaac's servant in, when he sees like the jewelry and things that he gives to Rebekah. Now Laban sort of tricked Jacob into coming and saying, yes, I will make a deal with you that you can marry my daughter, Rachel. And I don't know, to me, it's like Laban's not really a great guy. Like, he only decided the handmaid, the manservant for Isaac because he had this jewelry. Now he's trying to be cunning with Jacob, saying, you can marry my daughter if you work for me. So he knows who he is. He knows that he's come from this family, and he's gone, well, perfect. You can definitely marry my daughter Rachel if you come and work for me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had for her. So not only does it skip a few years for us here, but it felt like the time flew by for Jacob, because he said it only seemed like a few days. That's how excited he was. Like, I imagined that they'll be dating at this time for 7 years. They can't get married yet, but time just flies by, and he has this opportunity to speak with Rachel and be with Rachel, and yep, can't wait to marry you in 7 years' time because I'm doing this stuff for your father. And this is where
Clive, I can, this idea, they seemed unto him but a few, 7 years seemed to him but a few days. You've been married for a lot of years. Have they seemed but just a few days for you?
I'll say yes. I mean, they have it. I really, you look back and you go, wow, I've been married 15 years. It really doesn't feel like it,
Yeah, it feels like 30.
But yeah, time does fly. I mean, I guess the older you get, the more you realize that time continues going. It never slows down.
Finite.
Yeah.
Okay, Clive. So then in 30, so I just want to quickly just go set the scene here, because then in 29, Jacob says, it's been 7 years. Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go into her. And so there is one verse that covers 7 years. So I actually thought to myself, what actually happened in those 7 years? So I went to the Apocrypha, and we do have some record, Clive, in the Apocrypha, Book of Jasher, chapter 30. And so I'll just quickly read this out. These are things that are happening that Jacob is aware of while he's living in Haran. And in the 2nd year of Jacob's dwelling in Haran, that is in the 79th year of the life of Jacob, in that year, Eber, the son of Shem, died. He was 460 years old in his death. In the 3rd year of Jacob's dwelling in Haran, Bosmath, the daughter of Ishmael, the wife of Esau, bore a son to him, and Esau called his name Ruel. And in the 4th year of Jacob's residence in the house of Laban, the Lord visited Laban and remembered him on the account of Jacob. And the sons were born to him, and the firstborn was Beor. His second was Alib, and the third was Cherosh. In the 5th year, Jehudith, the daughter of Beeri, the wife of Esau, died in the land of Canaan, and she had no sons but only daughters. And these are the names of the daughters which she bore, and it goes on to the names. In the 6th year, Esau took for a wife, in addition to his other wives, and it goes on, and Esau brought her to the land of Canaan. So I just wanted to point that out. There is one verse in the King James version, but we do have some record here of what happened during that time, and it sounds like it was very heavy. And if Jacob is hearing these things about Esau, no doubt he's keeping track on Esau, because don't forget, his mum said, you need to come back at some stage. So obviously he would be checking in, going, should I come back soon? Should I not come back soon? As soon as my 7 years are up, can I go back? Will Esau forgive me? Will he still try to kill me? So those things are also happening. So after 7 years, Jacob says to Laban, give me Rachel, give me the honor of having Rachel. Let's get that done, and let's move on. So Laban gathers together the men and has a party. He says in verse 22, Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her, and Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for a handmaid. It came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is it that thou hast done unto me? Did I not serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? So the story is that there is some kind of party. There's a feast, in which case the text tells us that randomly Jacob goes into Leah. So I went back to the Apocrypha. I'm like, what does this mean? Is there a party? What is it? And sure enough, in chapter 1, it gives us the story of actually how this went down. I'll quickly read it, Clive. And afterward, Laban took his daughter Leah, and he brought her to Jacob, and he came to her, and Jacob did not know that she was Leah. And Laban gave his daughter Leah his maid Zilpah for a handmaid, and all the people at the feast knew what Laban had done to Jacob, but they did not tell the thing to Jacob. And all the neighbors came to Jacob's house that night, and they ate and drank and rejoiced and played before Leah on timbrels and with dances. And they responded before Jacob. And Jacob heard their words, but did not understand their meaning. But he thought such might be their custom. And in the morning, when daylight appeared, Jacob turned to his wife, and he saw, and behold, it was Leah that had been laying in his bosom. Jacob says, behold, now I know what the neighbors said last night. They said, and I did not know it. And Jacob called to Laban and said, what is it that you have done? Surely I serve for you, Rachel, and you deceived me and gave me Leah. And then the story continues that is the same in the Genesis version, the King James version of Genesis. So, Clive, there's just a little bit of extra of, well, what does it mean about the feast? Well, there was a party, there was a celebration. And during this celebration, I would assume there was drink, there was partying going on. And this is where Laban has been deceitful and covered up Leah and put her into this situation. Lots of partying, lots going on. And Jacob has not realized that it wasn't Rachel.
Well, yeah, you got to look at Jacob's situation. He assumes that this party is for him and Rachel. He's been working for 7 years. He's enjoying himself going, this is it. I've done this now. I've done all of this for Laban. And this just shows again the character of Laban, of who the type of person he is. He didn't say to Jacob, we're going to have this party and I'm going to give you Leah instead. They've had this party. Jacob's excited. Everything's going well for him, not realizing what Laban has done to deceive him. And now he's stuck now with Leah, even though he wanted Jacob. And Laban says, well, you know, this is the way it is. He says in 26, and Laban said, it must not be done so in this country to give the younger before the firstborn. So he's going, well, it's the law. I'm another law, but, you know, to us, the firstborn has got to go. My firstborn isn't married yet. So I've got to give my firstborn before I give you Rachel. Almost like, obviously, you know, this isn't the deal that they struck. Jacob's angry. This isn't the situation. He's like, well, look, if you want Rachel, you got to work for me for another 7 years then. Like, you've worked for 7 years. I've got to give you my firstborn. That's just the way it is. Like, he's very cunning, this Laban. He seems to be, the stories, you know, quite quickly pass him to seem to be this guy that's willing to give, but he's really not. You know, he's got a plan and he does things his own way. Well, now you work for me another 7 years and I'll give you Rachel. And Jacob's got no choice. He really wants to marry Rachel. And so he does. He works for another 7 years.
Yeah, it sums it up in verse 30, Clive. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. When the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, and Rachel was barren. Okay, so now we go into the next stage where Leah now has all these children to Jacob. And so we start with Reuben. Then she has Simeon in verse 33. Verse 34, she has Levi. Verse 35, she has Judah. And then she doesn't have any more children. And then now the text introduces as well, what about these handmaidens? Who else can Jacob get pregnant to? Leah almost says, okay, well, you're going to get pregnant to me. I'm going to give you all these children. And then Rachel says, well, my womb is closed, but I want to give you a handmaiden so that at least you can have children that are close to me and not to a woman that I hate and who hates me. Jacob anger. This is in 30, in chapter 30, and Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, I am in God's stead. Who hath withheld from thee the fruit of thy womb? So Rachel goes and she gives him Bilhah, her handmaid, and Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. In verse 6, Dan. Verse 8, Naphtali. Then Leah says, oh my goodness, Rachel's handmaid is having children with Jacob. What about my handmaid? Can you also have kids with my handmaid? And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. Gad is with Zilpah, and Leah said, happy am I, and also Asher. So at this point, Jacob's had a bunch of kids with 3 different women, none of them being Rachel, who's the only one that he actually loves. These 7 extra years are just utterly, absolutely chaotic. I mean, there's kids everywhere at this point in time. There's none for 7 years. Now we're 7 years in, and there's what, 6 or 7 of them at this point in time. Like, and we haven't finished.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously he has more children. He has with Leah, he has Issachar and Zebulun. And then when Rachel is able to conceive, which is the last two, that's Joseph and Benjamin. But also one daughter, Dinah, which we'll talk
Yeah.
about later.
In verse 21, we don't really hear much about her, right?
Well, there's a whole chapter dedicated to her, but then, yeah, not again. So interesting story, but it does skip it in Come Follow Me. But I think I'll run through the story in the next episode to catch us up. But yeah, so he's had 12 sons, one daughter, to handmaids and wives. And it's not, on the outside, you sort of look at Jacob and go, wow, he had a lot of kids, had a lot of wives. But you look at the situation. If you read the chapter carefully of the situation of why this happened, you sort of go, well, I understand. I understand why this happened. But then everyone spreads out from here. These are the nations. These are the things that the Lord has blessed.
Clive, one thing that I did find in the Apocrypha, which I'm theming that I love very much, is Rachel gets to the point where she desperately, desperately wants to have a child to her husband. And there's a prayer here. And Rachel was barren in those days. And Rachel prayed to the Lord at that time. And she said, "O Lord God, remember me and visit me, I implore you, for now my husband will cast me off, for I have borne him no children. Now, O Lord God, hear my supplication before you and see my affliction, and give me children like one of the handmaids, that I may no longer bear my reproach." God hears her and opens her womb, and she conceived a son. The Lord has taken away my reproach. She calls his name Joseph. May the Lord add to me another son. Jacob was 91 years old when she bore him.
All right, let's move on to chapter 32, just closing up here. So now Jacob is commanded to return to Canaan, right? And on his way, he sees Esau. And we know, we've been talking about it a lot between Esau and Jacob. There's malice and hatred, and Esau really doesn't like what's been happening. So Jacob's afraid. So he sends his messengers out to go and see Esau and sort of see where he's at. So they go and they see Esau and they report back that, well, Esau's there and he's with 400 men. And so Jacob's afraid. And so he turns to the man or angel that's with him and he says, I need you to bless me because Esau's going to come and he's going to kill me. I need a blessing from the Lord. And it's a really funny interaction because the messenger says, well, no, I'm not going to bless you. And Jacob said, I need a blessing and I'm not going to bless you. But then they have a fight. So in 24, and Jacob was left alone and there wrestled with the man with him until the break of day. Bless me, I'm not going to bless you. And then they start fighting. I need you to bless me. And then out of this fighting, he threw out his hip, essentially. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. So there's this angel, this man that we wanted to bless him. He's hit Jacob. He's thrown out his hip. He's like, I'm done. I can't wrestle you anymore. And he says, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. The angel's like, let me go. You're injured. Let's go. And Jacob's like, I'm not letting you go until you bless me. I really need this blessing. And so the angel's like, fine. Or this man, he's like, fine, I will bless you. And it says, and he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. This is 28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince thou hast power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore it is that thou dost ask after my name? And he said, bless him here. And then Jacob blessed Jacob called the name of this place because he says, I've seen God face to face. So now he's had this blessing and he's become Israel and he's had this thing. And, the interaction is so short, but Jacob says that I've seen God face to face. So whether when he got this blessing, he saw the Lord, the vision opened, or whatever it was, but this is a pinnacle moment. This is now Jacob has been called Israel after fighting with his angel, saying, any blessing. The Lord has fully blessed him and his posterity from here. And then it goes on in 33 that Esau came to him and he wasn't angry anymore. And in fact, he fell down and he kissed his, in 23, and Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell down on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. So obviously this hatred has been going on for so long. Esau is just grateful to be seeing Jacob. And obviously there's no more malice or hatred between them, and they love each other again.
Well, what a great few chapters to go through. A lot of insight. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. If you could hide to color podcast, catch it on Facebook and Instagram, catch it on YouTube, subscribe to us there. And we will see you next week for the next installment of Come Follow Me, Old Testament 2026.